well tell the truth.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pete Monfre, and I'm a marketing guy. You know, unfortunately, I have to report to the group today that I relapsed last week. It started with an innocent conversation, and then the next thing I knew, I was blackout marketing. You know, I woke up the next day and I see this money in my bank account, which kind of further reinforces my problem with marketing. And you know, I feel like I've really let everyone in this group down by falling off the wagon, and especially my sponsor Dave. Appreciate you, bro, but I let you down.
Just messing with you there a little bit. Marketing's got a problem. It's like an AA meeting concept there. Pete Monfre here. Hey, I do this podcast on B2B marketing every Thursday on LinkedIn at 11 o'clock Central-ish. And we share all kinds of marketing insight and scuttlebutt, which I had a slide prepared for just to define the term, always important. A cask on a shipboard to contain fresh water for a day's use. That's not it. A drinking fountain on a ship or at a naval or marine installation. Oh, I'd like to get a drink from the scuttlebutt. That sounds really pleasant. Rumor and gossip, which is, well, we don't really do much rumor and gossip here, actually. But what we do share is the truth about marketing. And so one of the things that I was reading some things on LinkedIn, and bear with me here. I'm flying solo today. My partner and producer and amazing wife is out of town, so I'm doing all of the levers myself today. So we'll see how that goes. But I was reading a post about the difference between when a client or an employer, you know, hires a marketer and they want to know everything about how all of the marketing works. They want to know all the granular detail on how it works. And they were drawing the distinction between is my job to teach marketing or is my job to do the marketing? And I thought it was a fascinating topic because it uncovered a bunch of other, I think, important topics about marketing and the marketing industry. Because in the comments, you could see a pretty good map of how people perceive of marketing as an activity, as an industry, and marketing people. And it was really kind of all over the place. And that's when I had the idea this morning that marketing kind of has a marketing problem. People don't, everyone has a wildly different idea of what the word means and how to do it. And of course, the market's changing, the tools are changing fast, everything's moving fast. That's part of it. But part of it is, in my opinion, as a markaholic, somehow marketing sort of lost its way, you know, and it lost status, although I don't know if it ever had any real status anyway. Let's say back in the Mad Men days when it was all advertising. You know, I do think that was a romanticized period, but marketing strategy really came onto its own, probably late 50s, early 60s, and it was the thing that big companies did, and Peter Drucker is putting out his books, and Jack Walsh, and they really defined a way to go to market. And it seems like it's sort of gotten lost, and it's ironic, I think, because marketing's one of the core jobs is to be able to communicate value, right? And I think the industry has done a terrible job of communicating value and how how their employers or clients, depends on if you're on the inside, right? Or if you're on the outside, maybe you're running a consulting firm, you're a marketer like me. The big reason we can't both teach you marketing, which by the way would involve sharing tens of thousands of hours and years of repetition and doing marketing, and then at the same time do the marketing because nobody has enough resources for that, and it's not feasible. We do marketing. An internal person has kind of the same challenge because many of them have to sort of convince the higher ups, not just that the marketing's working. In other words, here's the business case, here's the return on investment, blah, blah, blah. But in many ways, they're spending a lot of their time teaching the executive suite or whoever's above them. I'm not that familiar with that because there's no one above me here at this company. And since we've been in business since 1990, and it's pretty much the only job I've had my whole adult life, I really haven't had a boss, but my clients do. And they, some of them feel like they spend at least half their time teaching theory, and that, of course, impacts their ability to do marketing, however you define it. We'll be defining it a little bit, and it's a real conundrum. And it's, I don't have any fast answers because I think it's a complex problem, but it's something that we need to recognize. I think consultants in general share this preconception, because I saw a post that said consultants take your watch and then tell you what time it is. So clever. And this was from a CEO of a company that I had never heard of, but I teased him a little bit back and I said, that's a pretty broad brush you got there. What you just described as a bad consultant. But that's like if I said, hey, CEOs are all blah, blah, blah. I don't remember exactly what I posted. I hoped it wasn't too offensive. But I think you put these together and, marketing has a marketing problem. And much of that problem, and I think this goes for companies, and here on Tell the Truth, by the way, it's all about B2B. Like if you're running a hamburger stand, something like that, you're probably not going to get a lot of value from the program. But if you're running a B2B company and you're trying to get to the next level, or let's say you've achieved a certain amount of success and you're at a tipping point, or you have a major initiative you need to happen, this show will be great for you, because we've been sharing this marketing information to help you make better decisions for probably 15 years now, starting with blogging and now live on LinkedIn. And back to the topic, one of the big challenges, I think, is certain fundamental terms and ideas and concepts have just sort of been lost. In fact, one of them, there's a word called positioning, and it's a concept. I've talked about it on here before. I talk about it all the time because it's really important. But if you ask a digital marketing agency what the definition of positioning is, they're going to say, well, where do you rank in Google on the first page of Google? What's your position on Google, right? It's not what it means. They've sort of co-opted the word, and then thus everyone's confused. What it means is what idea do you own in the mind of the marketplace? Do you stand for a specific idea? Do you have a position? That's what we would call it, a position. You might have heard of the positioning statement, and that's part of the planning process. That you should, if you're not talking about position during your marketing planning, or if your agency's not talking about positioning, or if you can't articulate a clear position, that's a problem. And I'm going to be sharing a little bit about this topic and my upcoming workshop that will put some links down in the comments. Here, let's see if I can do that without some kind of crazy technical disaster happening. Rando chat. Yeah, man. That's funny. Yeah, I was having a little fun with you guys there at the beginning. Philip Getz, welcome. It was a little random at the beginning, but we're having we're going to be teaching this concept of positioning, okay? And let me see. I'll try to get this on the right slide here. So, as a smart guy said at one point, everything starts with why. Why? And one of the reasons for why have a unique position, all right? Do you want to be a commodity? That would be the next question. Of course not. Nobody wants to be a commodity. In other words, what I sell, you can buy it anywhere. Let's talk about price. That's what it's like to be a commodity in the classic sense of the word, or a commoditized or a parity product. Parity, I should have that definition up as well. But here's why it matters. You're going to get higher close rates. If you've got a unique position, in other words, what you have, they can't get anywhere else, ideally at any price. What does that mean? It means you're going to close more. It's going to mean price elasticity, being more competitive, more opportunities. It really can fuel your business. And so, this is why positioning, and do we have a link? We do. A successful link to that workshop down in the comments. But it starts with creating a positioning statement. And if you're familiar with Jeffrey Moore from Crossing the Chasm and Inside the Tornado, he has a great positioning template. If you do the workshop, we actually have 5 different templates that we're going to give you, and a whole bunch of tools and our tools. And but it's really an internal statement that basically sums up everything that someone would need to know about your company. What the company is, what the product is, what the value or benefit it brings, what problem it solves, for whom, and what makes you different, all in 2 sentences, and allowing you to tell somebody your clear position. And I like to say under 5 seconds, ideally under 3 seconds. But in order to be able to do that, you have to go through somewhat of a process. Again, a little bit of a lost art, but crucially important. What makes you different? If I asked you right now, hey, what makes you different? Your company, your business, your offering. Would you be able to tell me pretty clearly, or would you stammer and stumble and explain till my eyes glaze over? Probably. And I'll give you a break there because it's hard, all right? If somebody asks me what makes us different, for us, it's experience. It's experience that you can count on, okay? It speaks to our reliability. It speaks to one of the things that makes us unique. We've been in this business for 3 decades. So a lot of experience, hundreds and hundreds of clients, dozens and dozens of industries. And so that's what makes us different. So I can answer that question, but only because we had to go through that same process. So I'm going to show you how to do that in the workshop coming up. But here's one of the slides from the workshop here. So this comes from the book by Al Reese and Jack Trout. This book, The New Positioning, it's a fairly seminal book in the marketing industry. And so extrapolating from that, the idea here is that everybody has kind of a place in their mind for different things, ideas that live here. What's the biggest taco? Here's Homer's. What's the best beer? Marge only has like a small area. Coolest band. Where do you occupy? Where do you live in the market or in the prospect's mind? And it has to be something that is authentic. In other words, you can't fake a position, all right? Maybe you can for a short time, but it really won't work. People figure out pretty fast if it's not authentic. It has to be different from other options, competitors. It needs to be different, okay? It doesn't need to be unique, all right? But it needs to be different. And it also has to be on the list of super important things for the folks that write the checks, that keep your business running, your customers. And so it's this triangle. And, it's easy when you look at it this way. It's a lot harder when you're doing it. But I want to talk a little bit about different from others. You can't do positioning unless you have a really solid understanding of the competitive landscape, right? Because if you're talking about being different, what makes us different? Different from what? Different from the other options available. What if you were able to, I'm going to turn my notifications off so you don't have to hear those sounds. But what if you could differentiate yourself to the point that, let's say in some sort of competitive scenario, or maybe you're one of 2, 3, 4 companies that's, going after an account and being considered. If you do this well enough, you'll be so different from the rest of the field that they won't even be able to compare, okay? But super relevant to that prospect. In other words, if you're just different and they don't give a shit about it, remember our triangle, you lose, right? But if it's really important to them and you're clearly different from the rest of the field, I mean, what does that mean for your close rate, right? Your ability to articulate it. Let's extrapolate it even further. If you're doing content marketing, your positioning statement sits at the root of all of your topics. And so it makes that whole thing a lot easier. No longer do you have to sit there and think, oh, what are we going to write about this month? No, you have a platform, and everything you do should support that platform. All right? I'll use myself as an example in this program. The media strategy here is to create thought leadership, broaden my footprint as a consultant, share my knowledge in an authentic and valuable way, and not expect anything, but just keep giving, right? Give value, share everything I know about marketing so you can make a better decision. That means if you hire us or not, I don't care, just make a good decision, all right? Do the right things, help make marketing great again, all right? That's what I'm here to help you do. But that effort is predicated upon the idea of expertise. Remember, one of our big differentiators, our experience and expertise. So this is what you see. And plus my sheer good looks, as many will say. Come on, Pete, you've got this advantage. You just look good looking. And I assure you it's a burden to be this good looking, people. Hang on a second. I'm just refreshing my page here. I want to make sure that if somebody does comment, all of our 4 live. Let me share this too, because this might be valuable if you're thinking about live LinkedIn or thinking about podcasts. The podcast, the way that we do this and the way that it's part of a larger strategy, the number of actual live viewers doesn't matter. You'd think if you're doing live video that you'd want a lot of viewers when it's live. No, actually, the only reason we do it live, well, there's 2 reasons. We do it live because LinkedIn's algorithm loves live video. That's one. Number 2, it's a super efficient way for us to create content. Remember, we do this every week, 11 o'clock, Thursdays, whether I have a topic in mind or whether it's just like this today. But it's there every time, in a year. And by the way, we don't measure any of our metrics for the whole year. We're just committed to doing it and bringing value. And that gives us 52 videos, maybe 50. Probably miss a couple weeks here and there, but maybe 50 videos, and that also then get re-edited and get transcribed and get put into books, and very efficient, okay? And because it's also very frequent, that frequency itself really has a big factor in increasing reputation, footprint, all those things that you want to do, get in front of more people. That's how I hear it described to me all the time. And so that's part of the strategy. Now, this is also, the company, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see that we have a stream of organic media and we do all kinds of different marketing tactics, but they all come together under the positioning statement. All right. Let me see if I can find a good example. Oh, here. Yeah, so for us, it's for B2B service companies that need to grow faster, who need to reverse declining revenue, who need to do more with less. Clarity Marketing Support is a small marketing agency, but mighty, in Austin, Texas. And what we do is we find out what's broke and we fix it. And what makes us different is experience and that you can count on us, all right? That we stand behind it. We know our shit works, pardon my French. It's been a bit of French in today's show. But that's our positioning statement. Now, I paraphrased it because the one you write is really an internal thing. Like you wouldn't go out there and speak in those formal words, but it really is a fantastic guide that keeps everything. It's like your North Star as a company. And some would say, well, isn't that your brand? Yes. The brand is within the position. Okay. So the position sits on top of the brand. Again, everything comes back, you're like, for example, really down and dirty, gritty detail. This stock image, does this stock image represent our position? Does it support our brand and position? What before was sort of a subjective, I don't know. We don't have a brand or position. You can now start to make creative decisions, for example, based on kind of a binary decision. Does it support our position or does it not? Okay, if it doesn't, don't do it. As simple as that. So positioning, something you should know. And the good news is I am going to be, we're going to do 2 sessions actually. They're 90 minutes Zoom sessions for only 10 people. And we're going to do it about 2 weeks apart. And so I'm going to show you how to do competitive intelligence. In fact, how to score. Let's see if I can get this on the screen here, just to show you a little bit. This is one of the tools that we use. And it is what's called what we call a threat assessment, the Conquer threat assessment. And we have redacted parts of it because it is a proprietary tool that we use. But what it does is, let me start here. It's a weighted scoring system. So you can change the weights. You can change these 20 factors as well if you want. You enter your company's name and your top 3 or 4 competitors, and just pop their names in here. That populates the rest of it. I didn't enter anything. And then it gives you a visual map of where companies are strong and where they're not, and it gives them an average score. And so I'll teach you how to use this, and you score your company on all these things to the same factors with all the other companies, and then you can start to see a pattern. Now, for competitor 1, let's see. It looks like there's no data here, so that's why it's all green. But you start to see patterns that red is strength, and so where you see companies where they're green, in this case, competitor number 3 is very weak in social media. Competitor 1 very, very weak, so we're going to show you how to spy on your competitors and find out information in terms of how are they positioning themselves, how are they messaging, what are they doing that's good, what are they doing that where we can do better. Here, I wanted to show you this. If I take this score that I slid off to the side here and I move it into here and we go back to here, oh, it didn't work. Looks like we got, hang on a second here. Nah, I broke it, but I'll show you that. And we use some techniques with searching and data and big data to find out information about the competitors, so that we can craft a positioning statement that is different for our clients and valuable to the customers and authentic to who they are. And so it was a fantastic, rambling, tumultuous episode today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you'll share it. I hope you'll comment. Hope you'll come visit us in the links that we put in the comments. And we hope you'll tune in next Thursday for Pete Monfre Tells the Truth. Here, I got to push the buttons. Let's see what happens. See, anytime we push buttons, anything can happen. That's what I wanted to happen.